I never thought I'd say this, but I've got a titanium bike. Let me show you. But first, I gotta move all the bikes out of the way. So this is the titanium gravel bike, Highlight G7.2. So here's the bike. Basically, I got the parts from my old Canyon and put it on this bike. So stuff from the old Canyon, GRX shifters, Ultegra, FD, and crank. So it's got a 4634 on it, I think. And then 1142 cassette, Shimano GRX, carbon fork, Kenda Flint Ridge Pro 700x40 tires on DT Swiss wheel sets. Then I bought finishing kit from a Shopee store called Zenino. Carbon seat post, carbon stem, carbon handlebar, fabric saddle, passe bar tape, and it's good to go. The whole build is about 10 kilograms. I weighed the frame, but I made a mistake. I weighed it by myself here in the shop. So here's a video. You can kinda make out the number, sort of. It says the max tire clearance is 700x45. These tires measure at about 700x43 or 44. There's still quite a bit of space on the frame, so you could probably flirt with 700x50, but I'm not sure. And then the frame is fully internal. I did not bother getting a stem that will make it like proper fully internal. So you can see here, this is what we did with the cabling on the stem portion. I think it's still pretty neat. Kenneth, when he was installing it, did not complain about it, despite most mechanics not liking fully internal. He said this was fine. Also, to be completely accurate, this is not technically mine. This frame was sent to me by the distributor, the Philippine distributor, so that we can sell it here in the shop. And he said I should build a bike up. People can actually see a proper bike and I can ride it for myself. And I'll get to my thoughts about the ride of the bike. But the short of it is, I surprisingly like it. Also, a funny story about this Highlight brand. When we were first starting out the shop, I received an email from them, direct from China. They were looking for Philippine distributors. And when they sent the email, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, we were definitely not ready to distribute a brand like Highlight. We just opened up the shop and we were just trying to get the shop afloat. But I looked at their catalog and, to be honest, it's pretty impressive. They have a lot of titanium stuff. And I feel like there are a lot of titanium bicycle frames that are made from this factory. Quick, wet ride with the Highlight. So this might be the first real ride for the Highlight. 37 minutes in, still trying to get a feel for it. The roads were pretty wet, so that bummed me out a little bit, but I couldn't resist bringing this guy to Snake Road. This is Snake Road. Going down. So Snake Road is called Snake Road because, if you can see, it's like it's up and then down, up, down, up, down. Somebody made a joke. They said they should have called it Dragon Road. This is my favorite part of Snake Road. rocky, steeper and looser than the left. Big rock. Okay, come on. Oh shit. Almost made it up. I'm glad I went up here because this would have been a meh ride if I just kept it on the wet, mucky roads. This is so much more fun. I mean, look at that. Before we talk about the G7.2 highlight, some thoughts about frame material. So when people talk about titanium or carbon or aluminum or steel, a lot of the conversation revolves around ride feel. And having ridden all the materials now, okay, not all the materials, but you know, carbon, aluminum, steel, and titanium, to be honest, I cannot tell the difference in terms of ride quality. Supposedly, you know, the vibrations of a steel or titanium bike is absorbed, etc., etc., etc. I can't tell the difference, so I'm not gonna talk about ride quality based on material. When I talk about the material, I really like to think of it in terms of the characteristics that are much clearer. So for example, steel, it's a heavy material but super durable. Aluminum, it's a light material and relatively cheap, so it's affordable, so you can get a lot of affordable aluminum bikes. Carbon, it's a very light material, the lightest material, but it is also the material that is most easily damaged and is the most expensive, along with titanium. Titanium is not as light as carbon, it's probably as light as a good aluminum frame, but it has the durability of steel. So I like to think of it in those terms. Some people say titanium is your forever bike. You stop buying bikes because you buy titanium, it'll last you forever. To be honest, I think if you have a bike with whatever material these days, especially if it's a modern bike, I think most of those bikes will last you a pretty long time. They say titanium, it's like your forever bike. I'm not exactly sure that's true, because if you look at some of the titanium road bikes that came out 10 years ago, it was rim brake, tire clearance was really small, while the frame material is still really solid and robust. For example, if you had an old titanium road bike, I think I would prefer a bike that could do disc brakes and fit bigger tires, even if it was an aluminum bike. Modern bikes are pretty good. So where does this bike stand in my stable of bikes? So my Surly Midnight Special is still a proper gravel bike, but I do have 650B tires on it, and I don't really like doing long endurance rides on it. It's probably my most capable off-road bike, but I don't want to do like 50, 60, 70 kilometers of road riding on it for sure. So I use it a lot for the closer, gnarlier stuff in my area. Then I have my Focus Maris AX. It's a cyclocross bike, but I looked at the geometry and it's like a modern endurance bike. It's a Maris AX from like 10 years ago. It's my long distance bike. It's going to be my Audax bike. It's the bike that I will use for long road rides. And then I have my Canyon. My Canyon is kind of just hanging as a frame. In my head, it is a proper road race bike. It's a carbon bike. But honestly, I'm just not doing that much road racing, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with the Canyon. And then you have this, the Highlight G7.2. And in my stable of bikes, it is my proper do-it-all bike. If I wanted to do a long road ride, I would use this. If I wanted to do some gnarly off-road stuff, I would use this. And here is the perfect ride for this bike. Ay, Nilo! Gusto ba? I've been waiting for this. Enzo, not used to going off-road, huh? Suck fun. Single track. Fish. It's easy, single track, man. It's fun. Welcome to my territory, Ens. Almost crashed into a tree. I would say, like, it's nice to do this because we did like an hour-and-a-half road ride. We got some miles in, and then as a reward, we get to do some off-roading. I don't know if Enzo thinks it's a reward.
Yeah, suffering.
Suffering.
Torture.
Ooh, that's weird. Hello!
Ready ba? Whoop! Saan? Kamera mo na.
I feel like the geometry of this bike is unusual in a sense that when you ride it on the road, it feels like a snappy road bike, but it's super stable. The trail number is unusually high for this bike. And it's a comfortable ride. It is not super aggressive, not like my Surly, not like my Canyon. And I feel like if you do long road rides on this bike, you would be very comfortable. It likes to go straight, it's stable, it's not super twitchy. There is no toe overlap as far as I can tell. Or very little toe overlap, depending on how big your feet are. It's not quite a race road bike, which I don't think it tries to be a race road bike. I think it's more of a let's do a long ride kind of bike, and then in the long ride, if you happen to have some gnarly gravel stuff, it has the ability to do well on the gnarly gravel stuff. Maybe not quite the single track, but if it's like a long off-road section, this one will do really well. If you're going downhill on a off-road rocky section, it's gonna feel very comfortable going downhill and not quite as sketchy as opposed to a more twitchy bike. I feel like this is a frame set that you own when you are not really joining races to compete and you just want to have a good ride on a nice bike with pretty good performance, especially considering the weight and the durability. And let's be honest, the best part of this frame set is that it's a titanium. Okay, before we get to the rest of the video, a quick word from this video's sponsor, Curve Coffee Collaborators. A few days ago, I had the honor of being the guest barista in the Curve Coffee Collaborators Wolfex booth in the Visayas. WolfX is the World Food Expo where food entrepreneurs like to hunt for suppliers. Anyway, I was there serving curved coffee pour-overs, and I'm not a real barista. I'm just a guy who enjoys coffee, but I took the chance because it's a good opportunity for me to learn to become better at making coffee and go a little beyond my comfort zone. At some point, I noticed that I was serving a whole group of people who were professional baristas. I'm not gonna lie, I think I was shaking a little bit. But it was a good experience, especially because I got to represent a coffee brand that I truly believe is making a difference in Philippine coffee. Learn more about Curve and head over to their website, curve.coffee. Now back to the video. And let's be honest, the best part of this frame set is that it's a titanium frame with a very affordable price range. When I was looking for a new bike, like back then a couple of years ago when I bought the Canyon, my budget for a whole bike at the time was about 150,000 pesos. And I took a peek at some of the titanium frames that were available, and a lot of the frames were priced at around 100 to 150,000 pesos alone, just the frame sets. So this frame is a third of the price. So it becomes a lot more affordable, especially if you've always wanted a titanium bike. And the affordability of this is something that hopefully becomes a trend in cycling, because especially with a lot of stuff that's coming out of China, there's a lot of really good quality stuff coming out of China. You just need to know which brands are good quality and which ones are pretty bad. But I think for the general consumer, this is going to be a good thing. At least you have choice. You have more affordable options that are pretty good quality. And since the more affordable options are coming out, all the big name brands, the ones that are quite expensive, hopefully their prices start to go down. So we'll see what happens. It's only good for the consumer. So I'm pretty excited with what's going to be coming out in the future in terms of cycling, in terms of the regular consumer and getting more people on bikes. All right, more videos soon. It's a fun bike.